You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Bella Perez Rubio, Puma Podcast, and you're listening to Teka Teka News.
Makikita mo sa reports namin parang talagang rare and unique na instance yung linggong walang napatay na related sa droga.
The drug war killings haven't stopped. In fact, they haven't even slowed under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
It's a trauma that develops in you na hindi mo namamalayan. It may affect yung disposition mo sa pang-araw-araw. Pero you're seeing dead bodies every day of the week. For years, to a certain degree, may kahirapan na.
In this episode, we speak to one of the researchers running a live database of drug-related killings in the country.
Ako si Joel Ariate, a university researcher here at Third World Study Center. I've been here for 20 years.
Together with two other colleagues from the University of the Philippines, Joel runs the Dahas Project. It's one of the last, if not the only active tallies of drug-related killings in the country. So I asked Joel for the latest figures as of this year, 2023.
Magkakaroon ng another post call during June 16 to 22. So I think meron kaming another 5 fatalities na nakita. So this will bring the count 336 na as of June 22.
That's 336 killings since President Marcos took office on June 30, 2022.
Nung magsimula si Bongbong Marcos as president, there were pronouncements from the PNP chief and also from the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government na supposedly magkakaroon ng, in a way, modification. And even galing mismo kay President Marcos, it will be more holistic na approach. Nag-launch din sila ng bago nilang kampanya, yung Buhay Ingatan, Drogay Ayawan, Vida Program, na supposedly human rights-based approach sa issue ng drug addiction and drug use. But yun nga, we understand the possible caveat na sabihin too soon pa ito, na hindi pa nararamdaman. Pero ang kinabahala namin when we're doing the monitoring, nakita namin yung last 6 months ni Duterte and yung first 6 months ni Bongbong, nakita namin mas marami nang napatay nung first 6 months ni Bongbong kesa sa last 6 months ni Duterte. And pag in-extend mo yan for the full year, makikita mong nalagpasan na talaga. Si Duterte kasi nasa 302 lang siya for the last year niya in office. And ngayon, abot sa 336 na kay Bongbong Marcos. Wala pa yung last week ng June.
Here's a further breakdown of those numbers.
Almost half nitong killings na to ay committed ng state agents. Most often police, PDEA, and from time to time member of the armed forces. Pero rare yun. Mostly police and PDEA yung involved sa killings. Ang kalahati, at yun should be another cause for concern, ay almost 40 to 50% din ay kinoconsidered na killed by unknown individuals. Parang hindi siya kilala, posibleng nakita o may witness sa pagpatay, but then walang identification dun sa killer or sa assailant. Parehong problema ng pulis yun. Almost kalahati ay sila yung cause ng kamatayan mismo, and the other ay hindi nila ma-resolve. Wala kaming nakikitang significant police action para tingnan yung the other half ng mga pinapatay din na related sa drugs. At yung pag sinabi naming related, usually ito ay characterization na nanggaling mismo sa police sa baba. Na kaya ito pinatay kasi dati itong nasa listahan, kaya ito pinatay kasi nakulong na ito dati, or in possession mismo ng drugs. Pero hindi nila malaman kung sino yung pumatay. Though, ikukumpara ito sa early years ng Tokhang, of course, this pales in comparison. Pero kung titingnan mo, sa last 2 years ni Duterte, naging consistent lang yung number. Doon pumapalo rin yung number of killings under the Marcos administration. Masasabi mong walang significant na nagbabago, nagpapatuloy yung pagpatay.
Now, as to the enforcement, to put it very bluntly, I simply told them, look, I'm not interested in the kid who makes 100 pesos a week selling weed. That's not the person that I want you to go after. I want you to go after people who, if we get them, if we neutralize them, we put them in jail, we put them away, whatever it is, will make an actual difference, so that the supply of drugs, the system of distribution, the system of importation of drugs, because much of it really does come from abroad, that will actually make a difference. It will put a stop to it.
Two things that Marcos said he would do differently in his drug war is, number one, instead of low-level peddlers and users, he would go after more big-time dealers. And then number two, he also said that he was going to cleanse the PNP. He asked for those mass resignations, etc. You have basically a year's worth of data under his administration. Are you seeing that reflected in the data in any way?
Regrettably, hindi, ano? Kasi sa term ni President Marcos, most half nung fatalities sa drug war ay low-level street peddler, mga pusher. 50% yun, nung 300 plus. And yung high-profile targets ay lumalabas na parang 10% lamang ng kabuuan. So, yung data for July 2022 to May 2023, may 123 na pusher, street-level peddlers na napatay. Pero yung kinoconsidera nila ang high-profile targets, meaning they deal in bulk or may certain degree of notoriety, ay 39 lamang. Yun yung disparity. At kung ang pagbabasehan na yung mga significant na mga supposedly drug lord, wala kaming nakitang related to that. Yung sinasabing shift ay hindi nire-reflect ng numbers.
Are you seeing specific areas where the killings are more frequent or just more in general? And how is that different, if at all, from the previous administration?
Under sa term ni Bongbong Marcos, 52 na numbers from Davao alone. So siya yung pinakamataas talaga. Pero yung reverse nung sitwasyon sa Davao City, ang nangyayari naman sa Cebu. Oddly, sa Cebu, wala halos napapatay ang pulis. Lahat halos ng drug-related killings ay attributed sa mga naglalabang gangs or syndicates, or mostly yun nga, vigilante killings. And of course, ang third hotspot ay ang NCR pa rin.
Here's Marcos again, speaking at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington last May.
The change in policy, I believe, is much more focused. I always say that the previous administration had focused on enforcement. We have taken enforcement as far as we can. Now it is time to look at actually going after dismantling these syndicates. And before that, we should also look at not the rehabilitation of those who have already fallen into this drug culture, which has destroyed their lives.
We'll pause here. We get into the obstacles to tallying drug war deaths after a quick break. At the drug war's peak, there were several running tallies of the killings. Even international rights groups had working estimates, but that changed a few years into Duterte's term.
Around 2019, yung drug archive, for reasons known to us, bigla na lang siyang huminto. Yung nag-continue, actually, yung ABS-CBN research group. But eventually, given the troubles na pinapasukan ng ABS-CBN, in a way, naging irregular na kumbaga, or may significant gap bago yung next release nila ng data. Early on, nag-rely din kami sa kill list ng Philippine Daily Inquirer. But with a change sa ownership and ng mga interested parties din sa Inquirer, natigil din yun. Since nakikita namin parang pawala yung mga taong nagmo-monitor ng drug-related killings, bakit hindi tayo gumawa ng ganun?
That's when Joel and his colleagues started to track the number of drug-related killings through news and police reports. The Dahas project started publishing data during the lockdown.
Starting 2021, at the height ng pandemic, sinabi namin, let's use social media and also na magkaroon ng, in a sense, an advocacy, pag-raise ng consciousness sa mga kasama nating nagtatrabaho sa human rights community na nagpapatuloy ito. So isa sa mga pinakaunang nilabas naming article on this effort ay to raise the alarm na nag-intensify yung drug-related killings habang nag-intensify din yung restrictions related sa quarantine and so on.
But Joel says the lack of manpower and funding limits their work.
We really have to rely sa reported na data kasi wala kaming capacity to do groundwork, to pumunta sa mga presinto, unlike the journalists, may kapasidad. Same question ang nire-raise namin, ano yung detalye nung bawat pagpatay dun sa lista na yun? Kasi pwedeng magkakaiba yung konteksto. Kaya nga, pag pumunta ka sa Twitter ng Dahas PH, makikita mong nakalista yung inclusion parameter. Ito yung instances na masasama yung naging pagpatay at i-consider namin drug-related killings. Ang pinaprovide namin is a floor dun sa numbers ng drug-related killings. Hindi namin pwedeng bilangin yung finid lang sa amin. Though itong mga minsan, yung mga pinapaabot na ito ay very precise, kasi nandun yung picture ng burol at yung pangalan ng napatay. But hindi namin masali sa bilang.
In fact, Joel and his colleagues are still working on verifying the total number of drug-related deaths since Duterte began his national campaign in 2016.
Let me just say na itong research na ito is unfunded. There is no external source nor source from the University of the Philippines to do this research except for the salary na tinatanggap namin. Ang nagtutulak lamang nito ay yung sipag ng mga kasama ko na tutukan ang ganitong sitwasyon. So dahil doon mabagal na para mabalikan namin yung 2016. But I think rough estimate ay base sa reported and documented that will be in around 7,000 mark from 2016.
For years, however, rights groups have said that the deaths could actually be as high as 30,000.
Yung mga numbers na in the 30,000 plus, mukhang naghalo-halo na yung extrajudicial killings dito sa drug-related killings. So, yun yung difficulty doon.
A few years ago, the toll of the drug war, the death toll, was top news every day. Even international outlets were reporting about it. Now, it's really not daily news anymore. How has it affected your work at Dahas?
Malinaw naman sa amin nung sinimula nito na there's a certain degree of detachment from our efforts sa actual na nangyayari. Na we're just trying really to count, to have an empirical base kapag sinabi natin ganito kalala yung patayan nung panahon ni Duterte, nung panahon ni Bongbong Marcos. Doon sa aspect ng publicity, sa advocacy side, sa drawing of attention, talagang mahirap na kasi bibihira na yung nagsasurface. You can also look sa mga reports na ginamit namin, hardly na may lumulutang sa national dailies or let's say sa mga malalaking online news portal. We really have to scour yung maliliit na news outfits o regional newspapers or provincial newspapers na may online presence and doon namin sila makikita. Isa nga sa mga tinatry namin i-red flag, i-raise yung issue is simula nang maupo si Bongbong Marcos as presidente, naging almost weekly mayroong napapatay na ng laban sa Davao City. And say for one, almost all the killings ay ginawa ng mga pulis. Hindi namin alam. I mean, may malalaki at significant na media personalities naman from Davao. Hindi namin nakikita ang kino-cover pa nila ito. Or siguro hindi lang nakikita yung pattern. But we do.
Undeniably, mainstream media's coverage of drug war deaths has significantly dropped off.
2 years ago, nakita na namin yung shift na ito na percentage-wise, talagang bumaba na yung share ng NCR sa daily killings. And may effect din yan nga sa coverage ng media. So, except sa mga tabloids, yun na lang yung pumipick up ng mga kwentong ito. Bihirang-bihira yung mga malalagay pa ulit sa TV or ipo-cover extensively ng mga newspapers. Dahil sa shift na yon sa kung saan nangyayari yung patayan at kung sino ang pumapatay, nagkaroon ng, to a certain degree, parang nagkaroon ng misdirection yung attention ng publiko. Kasi yung mga dati kung saan niya nakikita ito, hindi niya na nakikita doon. Tatlong tao kaming nakatutok talaga dito. Day in, day out, every week for the past years since 2021 na. We have to look at the news, and yung news ay hindi lamang text. Nandyan yung video minsan ng pagpatay mismo, nandyan yung picture ng pinatay mismo. Minsan may callousness na madidevelop sa'yo.
I asked Joel what working on the last running tally of drug war deaths has been like, and how they've persevered despite the lack of manpower and funding.
Bahagi ng inaaral din ng Third World ay yung buong authoritarian experience natin with Marcos. And the Marcoses later on, magdi-deny sila na wala namang napatay, wala namang ganito, wala namang Pilipinong na silya electrica, and so on and so forth. All contrary to facts, all lies, brazen lies. So inisip na lang namin na 40, 50 years down the road, nag-exist pa sana itong database namin. And yung mga taong gustong matutunan, ano bang nangyari nung unang taon, pangalawang taon, pangatlong taon under Bongbong Marcos? Ilan bang napatay dahil sa illegal na droga? Gusto naming isipin na magiging matibay at mananatili yung datos na binaw namin. So I think yun na lang yung consolation.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Bella Perez Rubio. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. If you like this episode, check out Season 2 of our award-winning podcast, Tokhang sa Tokhang, and follow Teka Teka News on your favorite podcast app, or listen to us for free on YouTube. Thanks for listening.